I'm Gwyn Wansbrough. A big welcome to you all for joining this exceptional virtual facilitator workshop. I'm joined by our brilliant course manager for Breakthrough Facilitation, Lillian Waratere, who is joining us from Nairobi, Kenya. Lillian, if you can just give everybody a wave. Okay, and we're also going to be joined by some Breakthrough Facilitation alumni, Ryan, Darren, Fleur, and Pam. So they'll be joining. If you're on the call, if you can give us a wave as well. And thanks to everybody for choosing to be here. So before we get started, I'd love to invite you to share in the chat, all in one chat message if you can, your name, where you're calling in from, and one word that describes how you feel when you lead virtual groups. So your name, where you're calling in from, and one word that describes how you feel when you lead virtual groups. And that is great. Wonderful. So we'll just put those in the chat. Great. Okay. So we've got lots of people chiming in. Jason from Toronto, Virginia, excited. And we got Susan from Los Angeles, tired. Yes. Megan from Toronto, nervous. Nina from Las Vegas, energized. Vernon from the UK, curious. Kayvon, calling in from Hong Kong. I basically live virtually, pumped. Laura from Madison, Wisconsin, happy. Tina from Basking Ridge, New Jersey, terrified. Katerina calling in from Wales, loving it. Fatou from Morocco, significant and tired at the same time. Dawn from Texas, energized. Lux from Basking Ridge, New Jersey, curious. And Sarah from Hampshire, UK, nervous. Great. Thank you for sharing all of those answers. As we can see, leading virtual sessions generates all kinds of emotions, from excitement to nervous and even terrified. But we're going to dive into that today. And it's just amazing to see people from all over the world joining. Their friends from Twitter, friends from LinkedIn. A special shout out to those of you who are joining through the Quest, my newsletter, and from Circle, our community platform. That's great. So I like to start with a way of connecting that's called a chat storm. And I learned this from a brilliant facilitator called Cam Hauser. And here's how it works. On the count of 3, in the chat, I'm going to ask you to write the way that you would say hello to a very good friend where you live. But don't press send yet. Let's cue it up, how you would say hello to a very good friend where you live. Put it in the chat, ready to fire. And on the count of 3, we're going to press send all at the same time, and we'll have our chat storm. Okay. So is everyone queued up and ready to go? You just give me a yes. Okay, awesome. So on the count of 3, we're going to press send. 1, 2, 3, and let's go. Whoa. Okay. So we have several people on the call today, and there are probably as many ways to say hello to our good friends as there are people in this call. So thank you for that. If it's possible for you, let's go ahead and turn our mics on and just say hello to each other in that very same way. Okay, if that's possible for you. Turn your mic on and let's just say hello to this group in the way that we would say to a really good friend.
Hey there.
Hey,
Hey
there.
Hey
there. Good to see you.
Great. Okay. Fantastic. So if we haven't already met, my name is Gwyn. I'm a virtual facilitator, experience designer. I'm Canadian. I'm based in Barcelona, Spain. And one word that describes how I feel leading virtual groups is amazed. But I didn't always feel this way. because when the pandemic hit, I had just stepped down from leading a global facilitation training organization. And all of my facilitation work had been in person. And I was struggling to adapt my work online at that point. Did anyone else here have to suddenly switch their work online? Just give us a little wave. Yeah, several of us, a lot of us were struggling with that same transition. And I was a total skeptic because I didn't believe that you could do the same kind of work, meaningful work, virtually as you could in person. And I was even about to throw the towel in and just retrain into something else. And then I led my first session online. And at the start, it wasn't going so well. I struggled to transition from one activity to the next. I found it hard to present my content and keep an eye on the chat, handle all the tech all at the same time. And I felt tense every time I asked a question. And then I got kind of like a few minutes of awkward silence before someone answered. So by the time I finished that session, I had no idea how my audience was feeling. Did they enjoy it? Did they get value out of it? And at the end, I asked for a one-word checkout in the chat, how people were feeling, really nervous that I wasn't going to hear anything. And instead, I kind of waited through that minute of awkward silence and started seeing the responses flow through the chat, inspired and energized and connected and powered. This was right at the height of the lockdown. And that's what I was used to hearing in my in-person sessions. And that was a breakthrough moment for me because I realized that it is possible to do meaningful group work online. And I was determined from that point on to make every online session that I facilitated enjoyable and transformative for my group members. So I started a weekly newsletter to share what I was learning about virtual facilitation, which is called The Quest. And I created a course called Breakthrough Facilitation that teaches the art of exceptional virtual facilitation. My mission is to help people become exceptional virtual facilitators and to put the joy back into being together online. So I know that we have a lot of experience in this group, and I cannot wait to explore this with you today. So I'm dying to know what your number one challenge is when it comes to leading virtual groups. Let's just drop that in the chat. Your number one challenge when it comes to leading virtual groups, and see what kind of challenges come up here in this group. Okay, great. So we've got engagement and keeping the energy up, keeping everyone engaged, dealing with people who are doing other things, ensuring that all voices and perspectives are heard and seen, holding spaces for all the voices, establishing and maintaining energy and engagement, keeping the energy. We can see that there's very common themes and struggles that are coming up, interacting with everyone, different ways to engage, getting people to ask questions and be brave. I miss the body language and communication with my non-native English speaking students. Yeah, giving everyone a voice, and consistently there's not too much content, but still educational, connect over content. So these are very common struggles that people face when they're leading virtual sessions. And that really gets to the purpose of our session today. And so we've got two aims for our session. One is to learn some actionable virtual facilitation techniques that will increase engagement in your sessions. So I want you to leave this session with a bunch of new techniques and ideas that you can use straight away in your sessions. The second aim is to reveal the next steps on how you can become an exceptional virtual facilitator even faster with Breakthrough Facilitation, the course. And I've got a special bonus as a thank you for coming out to the workshop today that I will share at the end of the session. And actually, there is one more aim, and that is to have fun, because we don't want any more boring, exhausting meetings. And having fun is not because it comes last at the end of the list. It's because it's the very foundation of group work. Okay, so those are our aims. I've got one agreement that I would like to propose to this group, and that is to participate fully. Okay, I promised you an immersive experience, an interactive experience, and I know that we have so much experience in this group, and we're going to learn so much more in the session if everyone participates fully. So we have the chat, we have reactions, we'll be running some polls. However you feel comfortable participating, the most important thing is that we hear from you, okay? So if you agree to participating fully, on the count of 3, let's just put yes in the chat, ideally with an exclamation mark, okay? So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, yes, that is a lot of exclamation marks and a lot of enthusiasm that just came through that chat. So thank you for that. So in this session, we're going to be exploring the 5 mistakes that demolish engagement in virtual sessions and how to avoid them. We're going to look at some facilitation techniques and a design tool that I call the breakthrough arc. We're going to look at how you can level up your skills with breakthrough facilitation course. And we're going to have time for a Q&A at the end to ask any questions that you have in this session. Okay, I've got some Zoom instructions. I think we're all pretty comfortable now with Zoom. If it's possible for you to keep your camera on, let's use the chat, use the emojis and reactions. Cameos are welcome. Any technical questions, ask our wonderful course manager, Lillian. And above all, let's just enjoy this next hour that we have together. Okay, so this is going to be an interactive demo. It's going to be a live example of what you can do in your sessions to boost interaction and engagement. So throughout the session, I'm going to show you the exact techniques that I use to make this session flow. So look out for what is running in the background, and we're going to come back to this, okay? Okay, any questions at this point? Before we move on, we're going to share all the slides and some resources with you in a follow-up email along with the recording from the session so that you will have those as well. Okay, so great. Enough talking now from me. Let's jump in. Let's get a better idea of who is in the room with us today. So we're going to run a quick poll. And the question is, what kind of virtual sessions do you lead? And Lillian's going to pull up our poll for us. And so you'll see a number there. If you just put the number that corresponds to your answer right in the chat, we'll start seeing the results. So Tina's got 5, great. Darren 2, Constantine 1, and great. Okay, so wonderful. Okay. Let's see where okay, so we've got people who are leading all kinds of different sessions, different kinds of sessions. Now, sorry, there's been a little, the interaction is complete. Okay, we're gonna try that with the next poll. We'll run the Stream Alive again. This is Stream Alive. This is an amazing platform. We've actually got the co-founders of Stream Alive on this call with us, Tina and Lux. If you can give us a wave, and we will put the Stream Alive interactive tool link into the chat in just a second. And we've also got members of the Stream Alive team. So we've got people on this call who are leading all kinds of different sessions. So whatever kind of sessions that you're leading, whether they're webinars or online courses or online communities or remote team meetings, these techniques can be adapted to a whole range of different contexts. Okay, so here's our second poll. And Lillian, I'm just going to see if we are ready to, okay, go with that one. Okay, great. We've got Stream Live in the call. Perfect. So again, just put the number that corresponds to your answer. Here we go. Now we're getting the responses. Okay, how comfortable are you in leading groups online? We'll just take a second to put our answers in. We can see those answers coming. And that is great. Okay, wonderful. So the front runner is I'm comfortable, but I'd like to learn more. But we've got people with all kinds of ranges of comfort with virtual facilitation. We've got people who are new to virtual facilitation. How exciting. This is opening up. I hope this opens up a new doorway of possibility for you in leading online groups. I've tried it with varying degrees of success, a couple of people there, and I am in my element when I am leading virtual groups. So wherever you are in your virtual facilitation journey, I'm going to share exactly how you can be even more confident stepping into your Zoom room. Okay, and one of those ways that we can become more comfortable leading groups is to understand the common mistakes that demolish engagement in your virtual sessions. So there are 5 of these kind of common mistakes that I see come up again and again. And so let's look at each of these. And Lillian, would you mind bringing up that slide? Great, okay. So the first one is too much content. So this is where most people believe that the more content they cram into their session, the more valuable it will be. Does this ring any bells for anyone on this call? Because this is one of the easiest mistakes to make. And I, for one, I still struggle with this. But bombarding your group members with too many slides and graphs and frameworks can be overwhelming, especially online. So instead, you want to find the right balance between delivering content and interaction. And this will likely mean that you'll have to cut your content. But it will make it much easier for your group members to engage and take action once the session is over. Okay, so that's too much content. Number 2, not enough connection. So we can be so focused on delivering high quality content that creating connection amongst our group members takes a back seat. But the problem is that you don't have that spontaneous connection when you lead groups virtually. So you need to proactively design and facilitate opportunities for your group members to connect early and often. It's going to build safety, belonging, and motivation, and it will help people engage with your session. So number 3 is the wrong icebreaker. And most people believe that throwing out random icebreakers is a surefire way to ease people into this session and get them talking. But using the wrong activity at the wrong time can backfire. It can make people feel confused and even unsafe to take part in your session. So instead, you want to curate a series of activities, usually gradually increasing the level of risk, but so that they resonate with your audience and they fit with the bigger purpose of your session. Okay. So number 4 is too little interaction. And a lot of people wonder why. When they launch a question, the only thing that they hear is crickets. And the problem is that once you've gotten to this point, it can be almost too late to get engagement back on track. Our attention spans are very short, especially online. I heard that come through in some of the challenges of trying to make sure that people are paying attention to the session and not doing other things. But fortunately, we have even more tools online than in person that boost interaction. So let's actually drop in the chat, what are your favorite online tools? Because it's always good to have a bank of tools that you can try out. So let's just drop that in the chat. What are your favorite interactive online tools? And see if we can come up. Yeah, so Mentimeter and Menti. And we'll see what else comes up in the chat. My favorite is Stream Alive, and it is a new tool, but it's an AI-powered tool, and it picks things up straight from the chat. So that, for me, is the breakthrough in Stream Alive, and it being just an amazing tool for facilitators. So we can drop the Tina, yes, Stream Alive, and Miro retro board, yeah, absolutely. So let's drop the link to Stream Live so that people can check that out as well. So the last one is insufficient prep. Some people start their sessions only to realize that the mics aren't working. That did happen to me today, I have to say. The internet connections are glitchy and they have the wrong links. And so running a virtual session is like a juggling act, only on steroids. Okay, there's so many things that can go wrong in a split second. And the problem is that your audience can tell when you're unprepared, and it will make them feel like they've wasted their time showing up to your session. So many challenges that when it comes to boosting engagement can be solved with razor sharp preparation and planning. So if you've made, you don't have to say, but if you have made any of these mistakes, it is not your fault, because so many of us have had to switch online so quickly and figure out things on the go. But once you are aware of these mistakes, it's easy to avoid them. So after a lot of trial and error experimentation and learning from others, I quickly realized that there is a clear and methodical way to design and lead consistently great virtual sessions. And that's why exceptional facilitators excel at leading online sessions. It's because they design and lead the sessions specifically for the way that we interact online. They're focused on a few very important things. One is creating safety, building connection, and encouraging interaction. And that is what sparks breakthrough in your session. Okay, so those are the 5 mistakes. And let's now take a look at some of the techniques, the facilitation techniques that I was talking about at the beginning that we've been using in this session. And we're going to be doing that by actually taking a look at how I designed and how I'm facilitating this session. So it's all very meta, but it's the best way to learn is through experiencing yourself what it is to be in an interactive session. So I call this lifting the curtain. It's looking at the facilitation techniques running behind the scenes that help to boost engagement. And it's how I actually learned facilitation from my mentors. It's also the approach that I use to teaching virtual facilitation in my course, Breakthrough Facilitation. So here is my question for you. And that is, what did I do or say that made you want to engage in this session? Okay, we'll drop that in the chat. What did I do or say that made you want to engage in the session? And we can drop the answers in the chat. Great. Kayvon, I see you've already the friendly welcome. The starting, okay, which is so crucial. The first 5 minutes in particular. Ask directly for my engagement. That's an engagement hack. You just ask people to engage. Let us unmute early and hear everyone's voices. Another hack that is a way of getting all the voices in the room. You engaged us with a prompt early, high energy, commitment of all, made everyone at ease, lots of smiling. Okay, this specific use of one agreement, the agreements. Acknowledging everyone, unbridled enthusiasm. You ask for interaction, but gently and a friendly start. Great. So I thank you for those. I think I was actually going to challenge this group to come up with 20 engagement techniques that we used in the session. And I think we've actually got those 20 already. But I would love to hear from maybe 3 people who would be willing to share with the big group something about, I'd love to hear from 3 people, what facilitation techniques kind of resonated most with you, maybe made you want to engage with the session, and why, what do you think was happening there? So if I could get 3 people who would be willing to unmute themselves and just share a little bit about that experience in this. And if you could just put me in the chat, then we will call on you. Okay, and we'll just see who comes up. If you are feeling a little bit like some tingling in your stomach at this point, at the thought of like speaking in front of a group of strangers, that's actually a very good sign to write me in the chat and just share your thoughts about these engagement techniques that we saw happening. Okay. Great. So, oh, here we go. All of a sudden we've got a rush of me's. Okay, perfect. So we're going to just start with the first 3 who chimed in, and Dawn will come back to you. Okay. So, so I'm seeing GWCD. I'm not quite sure who that is, but if you would like to unmute yourself, Laura, if you would, and Kayvon, if you would like to unmute yourselves. Thank you for being willing to share. So let's just start with, what did I say or do that made you feel like engaging in the session? And anyone can just start us off.
Well, I've changed my name. It was like, because this is my first connection with Zoom. Hi, everyone. Great. This is Fatou from Morocco. Yeah. Well, to be very honest with you, I don't know if there is a name to this technique, but what I felt is already the email, the content of what the preparation. I mean, I heard or I felt that there is something I will be learning from the session, and also the welcoming. So I don't know, but I knew that there is something I will take with me when I will be leaving this session.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fatou. Okay, wonderful. So the email even before you join the session, and then the beginning of the session. Okay, great. Laura or Kayvon, would you like to chime in?
Yeah, I can go. Hi, guys. I'll try to speak softly because my entire family is sleeping right now. I think it's that you're calling people by their first name. So I heard my name multiple times, and I heard Laura, I heard Tina's name, and it feels really welcoming. It's like a friends gathering. So I just want to listen to you more.
Great. Yeah, the power of using names. And the most amazing thing is that on Zoom and on a lot of the digital platforms, you actually have everybody's name there. It's not like how it used to be when you had to memorize a group of people's names. So using names really makes people feel seen and heard. And that is something that sparks a lot of motivation to engage. Great. Thanks, Kayvon. Laura.
I just loved how you had everyone unmute and say hello, even though it was like that brief moment. To hear everyone's voices was very different to me than sitting and seeing everyone's faces while one person, usually the facilitator, is speaking. So I always do that at the end of my calls, like, okay, it's a tradition, we unmute to say bye, because I don't like the silence at the end. So everybody unmutes to say bye. But I think today I'm going to have everyone unmute to say hello too. So already learned something. Thank you, Gwyn.
Great. Yes. And it is a very simple, a lot of these things are simple techniques. They don't take a lot of time. And it really accomplishes that fundamental thing that you want to get all of the voices in the room early. There's something about and which I call like the early engagement effect. When you get people engaging early, whether that's in the chat, whether it's turning on their mics and saying hi, they are more likely to engage throughout the session. So that is an easy one that is usually available also to everyone on the call. Okay, wonderful. So let me just take a look. I'm getting so deep into our conversations. Just want to make sure that we are on time here. Okay, great. We have time to hear from someone else. Dawn, did you want to just unmute and share? What visit did you find engaging?
What Laura said, basically. I mean, you said it so well, Laura. So I was like, wow, that's what I was going to say, but maybe not as well as Laura said it. But I did just love hearing the warm and friendly tones coming from everyone at the same time, almost as if we were really in the same physical space. So I love that.
Great. Absolutely. And, you know, I almost feel like sometimes when I'm leading a virtual session that the screen almost melts away, is how when you manage to create those connections at the very beginning of the session, it can feel like the screen that is between us is melting away. So that is, I loved how you said that, Dawn. Great. Okay, so we have some amazing facilitation techniques that you have identified in the chat. And I've also put together just a quick list in the slides. Lillian, if you could bring that up, of some of the facilitation techniques that you're going to want to have in mind when you lead virtual groups. So there's lots to cover here, but you know, you've covered it already, giving a warm welcome, easy opportunities to engage. So the idea is gradually turning up the risk. If you can start with questions that everyone can answer, and then gradually, you know, start increasing the level of challenge that moves people from their comfort zone. You meet them in your comfort zone, and then gradually move into the stretch zone. Get all voices in the room early. A personal intro. So the way that you introduce yourself, sharing the aims. I saw several people identify the agreement, the aims, the group norms or the agreements. These are all things that help people to feel safe. It's part of what we call in facilitation, building a safe container for exploration, for learning, for brainstorming. Is when people feel oriented around what is the purpose of the session and what are our aims and what are our agreements. So we want to lower the barriers to participation. Sometimes when you hear those crickets, it's because you're asking people something that is maybe just a little bit too difficult or challenging, or they feel hesitation or maybe even confusion because they're not understanding exactly what they're being asked to do. So you want to, if you do hear those crickets, think about how can you start lowering those barriers of participation and then start moving up again. Listening actively and asking questions. So those are two of the core skills of any facilitator, but especially online where you don't have the body language. Those kinds of skills become absolutely critical. So those are some facilitation tips. Now, one of the biggest challenges in leading virtual groups, before I launch into that, I want to thank our volunteers for stepping into a group who you do not know and sharing those reflections. So thank you very much to you four. So one of the biggest challenges is that there is no playbook for online facilitation. People have been facilitating online for well before the pandemic, but the pandemic kind of put things into overdrive and things are evolving so quickly. So based on everything that I've learned in my 15 years of facilitation and my 3 years of facilitating online, I created a framework that I call the Breakthrough Arc framework. And it's really a way of making it really easy to structure a session so that you're setting things up for high engagement and impact. There's 8 steps to this arc to designing these sessions. And it's a framework that I use for all of my sessions. So you'll likely recognize those steps in the session today. And it's the backbone of my breakthrough facilitation course. So this breakthrough arc is inspired by something called the Arc of Transformation, which was developed by 2 amazing organizations called Partners for Youth Empowerment and Dream a Dream. And with also the involvement of one of my facilitation mentors, Nadia Cheney. And it's really a brilliant structure for designing sessions. So let's see. I'm also going to share a guide. I've just published a guide. You'll actually be the first ones to see this free guide. It's an 8-step guide to designing sessions, and it breaks down that breakthrough arc. And Lillian, if you wouldn't mind just bringing back that slide, and I'll just walk you through the steps really quickly so you can see, and then you can spend some more time if this is something that you feel like could be helpful to you. In the guide, I've broken it down more. In the next slide, Lillian, we have just a quick recap of the steps. So the preparation stage, designing for what I call APT, or making sure that your session is apt for your group. A is audience, P is purpose, and T is transformation. So your audience, purpose, and transformation really guide every single design decision that you make when you're leading and designing virtual sessions. Step 2 is welcome. So we talked about that in the facilitation techniques. You create the tone and you get all voices heard from the very beginning. Step 3 is connection. And this is giving your audience an opportunity to connect early and then often through your session. Step 4 is context. So that were the aims, the agreements. This is where you orient your audience and build trust. And then step 5 is the main activity. That's what the key is, balancing content and interaction. Step 6 is reflection. And this is where you draw out the insights and the breakthroughs, and we kind of got a little taste of that in the comments that you all shared in terms of what is actually possible when it comes, to leading virtual sessions. Step 7 is commitment. So you want to make it really easy for your group members to take action on what they have done in the session. And step 8 is your closing. The closing is one of the most important steps. It's the one that's most often skipped, and it is the one that people will remember most. It's your opportunity to end your session on an emotional high. So that's the breakthrough arc. You've got the free guide. It's got a worksheet. It's got 35 tips as you go through the worksheet on ideas that you can apply to your sessions. Great. So any questions before we're going to go into the course now? Okay, great. Thanks I love and appreciate the sharing. The original origin, yes. The arc is a very powerful way that is used. It's used in storytelling. It's used in transformative learning. It's used in a lot of different things. And so this particular adaptation is really just looking at how does it apply to leading online sessions. Thanks, Nina, for that comment. Okay, so if you are ready to take what you've learned today to the next level and speed up your journey to becoming an exceptional virtual facilitator, then I would love to invite you to join my signature course, Breakthrough Facilitation. The next cohort starts on April the 18th, and we have just opened registration today. So like I mentioned, we do have Breakthrough Facilitation alumni with us today. Could you, I'm just going to take a look here, and I know that we've got Darren, and we may have a few other people on the call. If you are joining us as Breakthrough Facilitation alumni, if you could just give us a wave, that would be great. Okay, wonderful. So I am also really excited to announce that Darren is one of 4 Breakthrough Facilitation alumni mentors who will be guiding and supporting the Breakthrough Facilitation participants in this next cohort. So how does it work? So it's really, the Breakthrough Facilitation is the only live immersive experience that gives you step-by-step support and personalized feedback to design and lead these engaging virtual sessions. And each week, and Lillian, if you could bring up this slide, we'll run through one of the core components of exceptional facilitation. So it'll be, and every session is interactive, and there'll be opportunities in every session to practice and get feedback, because that is where you learn facilitation. Okay, and so we've got those 4 components that connect, where you focus on building psychological safety and connection. Guide, this is how you lead your group with presence and questioning and active listening. Design, how you design those highly interactive virtual sessions, and prepare. So all of your frameworks and your tools and your templates and systems that you use to run really outstanding online sessions. So here's what you'll get in the Breakthrough Facilitation course. You'll get the 5-week immersive experience. You get 8 90-minute live sessions. You get pre-recorded videos, frameworks and templates and tools. You get step-by-step support, and you get opportunities for practice and feedback. You get a personalized progress report that will show you where you are at the beginning of your virtual facilitator journey in the course and where you are at the end. And you also get access to this global community of motivated peers, which is the Breakthrough Facilitation community. And one of the highlights of the course for the Breakthrough Facilitation alumni is that you get to work on a capstone project. So Darren, I wonder if you could just unmute yourself and share the experience and tell us what that capstone project was and what that meant for you in terms of your own learning in the course.
Thanks, Gwyn. Hi, everyone. Yeah, the capstone was actually very useful, and I use it on a daily basis. And so the company that I work with, we do online facilitation. So this was a beautiful fit, and I have a team of 4 facilitators that work under me. And so at any one time, we'll be running, 8 cohorts of our 6-week signature Dream Business program. And so what the capstone allowed me to do was provide structure to very quickly onboard other facilitators. And so every week is very well laid out, as you saw with the breakthrough arc. And so I applied that to my capstone, and yeah, it's been absolutely fabulous to bring people up to speed quickly, but also allow me to be very clear on what it is we want to deliver each week. Because to your point, we had too much content to try and get out in 90 minutes, and now we have a very intentional, I guess, learning outcome for each session, as well as our 6-week program. So yeah, I'm very excited to be joining you here today and also in the program. So
great. Okay, wonderful. So that is what you get to do in the session. We'll go through every week. You'll have opportunities to kind of work on this capstone session. It can be anything that you choose, but the value is that you get to apply the skills to something real life. And then that also gives you a blueprint for designing and leading sessions going forward. So the course then, this is what you'll walk away with. You get the design and tested session. You'll get that blueprint for designing sessions. You'll walk away. One of the common themes that I hear from Breakthrough Facilitation alumni is that they feel more confident leading virtual sessions. So you'll walk away with increased confidence. You'll know how to continue your learning journey, and you'll be connected. You'll have ongoing access to this amazing group of people who are figuring it out and will be your biggest cheerleaders along those your 5-week journey. So the key information, if we can just skip down. So here's how the alumni rate the course. The course dates are April the 18th to May 18th. The live sessions will be on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 6:30. That's CEST time. The time commitment is about 4 to 6 hours a week. And there are 2 packages. There's one essentials package, which gives you everything that I've talked about already. And then a premium package, which gives you additional coaching and video feedback. So you send me a video of a live session that you've led outside of the course, and I will give you detailed feedback on your facilitation. So I did mention that I wanted to offer this group a special bonus for coming out to the session today on this first day of registration for the course. And that is that I want to give you 20% off of the course fee. So with the coupon code, it's actually 20 off, not 20% off. I'll just put that in you will get 20% off of the course fee. And for the next 5 people who register for the course, I'm going to throw in a 1-hour one-on-one coaching call. And you can use this in any way that is helpful to you. So 20% off. The next 5 people will also get a one-on-one coaching call. And that is the bonus in this session. Okay, so I'm going to hand it over to you all. Great. I'm going to hand it over to you. What are the biggest questions that you want answered? It could be about facilitation. It could be about the Breakthrough Facilitation course. Let's just write them in the chat, and then I'll ask a few people if they want to, just turn on their mics and share them with the group. But if I don't get to your question, I will circle back and write it in an email. So great. Okay. So Liz, what is the content and pre-recorded videos? Okay, thanks for that question. So before every live session, there are very short videos on different subjects. So you have anything from how to build psychological safety, where I go through in a video format the concepts and the techniques, and then we kind of do them live in the session. So I really try to protect the live time for the practice and applying the skills. And those pre-recorded videos help just get you warmed up to the concepts, and you can refer back to those videos anytime. They will be in the Breakthrough Facilitation library. So things like experience design. What is experience design? I'll have a longer video on the breakthrough arc that really takes you through all of the steps that you can refer back to anytime. Creating connection. How do you create deep connection? There are other videos on how to craft a really powerful personal introduction. Okay, so all of these are video content. There's a set of about 8 videos that go along with the course. So thanks for, yes, a bit of blended learning. Okay, great. So wonderful. So the 8 sessions, each session is a topic in the arts. Super, thanks. Yeah, more or less it does follow the arc. And so we're really trying to move through the concepts, having opportunities to practice, and then having opportunities to apply that right to your breakthrough arc in the session. We have a kind of a Miro work board. It's almost like a a sandbox where you have all of the steps of the arc, and then you have different areas around it where you can kind of brainstorm, prompt questions of like, you know, what kind of things do you need to know about your audience? And so each session will be looking at different components of that arc, so that when it comes time to do your capstone project, you have filled in the arc, you've got a really good sense of how you've designed it. And when it comes time to lead your demo, you are already, you know, kind of really feeling, you know, confident in that you've got a good design. Any other questions about anything that we've seen in the course today, or in the session today? Anything about the course? Anything else? Any questions for Darren as an alumni? Oh, okay, Susan. Great. I have two questions. Can you share how the ARC works for regular office hours? Yeah. And I can't make the first two or 3 weeks as I'll be overseas. Can I catch up? Okay, great. I'll start with the second question. So all of the live sessions are going to be recorded, and you can catch up on any live sessions that you miss. It's very understandable, you know, with travel and work and that kind of thing, that sometimes you can't make it out to all the live sessions. So you will have those videos to catch up. And then the ARC for regular office hours. So Susan, that would be a great focus, for example, for a capstone project, because office hours are a very particular kind of session. And there are ways that I have seen online community leaders, for example, design office hours so that there is lots of connection and engagement. There's like this way of designing so that you are answering people's questions, but you're also creating connection amongst the group and kind of mutual support. So that is an amazing creative challenge for the capstone project. Great. Okay. So I know we're coming up to the end of the session. So just wanted to drop in again, you can find out more information about the course on the website, on the course page. And don't forget that you will get 20% off if you register in the next 48 hours for using the coupon code 20OFF. Okay, great. And if you have any questions after this session and you just want to shoot me an email, you can do that too. And I'll just put my email in the chat. And we can even jump on a quick Zoom call just to see if it's the right fit for you. Okay, so we have gone through quite a few different phases in this session. We have connected with each other. We've looked at these facilitation techniques. We've looked at the breakthrough arc. We've talked about the 5 mistakes that we definitely want to avoid in leading our online sessions. And so just as we close, I would like to invite you to put in the chat one insight that you gained in this session about virtual, leading virtual groups. One insight that you gained. We'll just, if you can drop that in the chat. And we'll see what comes up. All right. Great. Okay, so Nina, so we've got a reminder to connect early and often. Susan, I need to put more work in it and not just hope that people will show up energized and engaged. Fatima, being a facilitator is an art. Love that. Jess, sharing voices off the top, speaking early. Yes. And Ian, reaffirmation of connection before content. That's a very great way to remember connection before content. Layinka, the importance of early connection and interaction. And Laura, I want to be more clear with my participants on my calls about the specific purpose for the call each week and get them to unmute and say hi from the beginning. Yes, Lux, all audio on, icebreaker. Wonderful. Vernon, get yourself a Lillian to help facilitate sessions. Yes, how lucky do I feel having Lillian? Thank you, Lillian. There's a lot that goes on in the background. Great. Okay, so Dawn, it's okay to explicitly ask for participation in the form of a big yes. Katerina, the importance of easy action invitations. Nice, easy action invitations. I love that. Megan, building momentum. Early is crucial. Sarah, the power of making people comfortable, engaging early and often. Kayvon, having the time to reflect and share with them what they have just learned connects to the next step. Simone, beautiful way of ending it. Less is more. That is so wonderful. Thank you so much to everyone who came out to this workshop. I would like to invite you all to unmute and let's go back to that chat storm and think about the way that we would say goodbye to our good friends in the place that we live. Just unmute ourselves and say farewell.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
Thank you,
Au
Gwen.
revoir.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Gwen.